Hey folks, welcome to this week's episode of DC Top 10. This week we're on number 6, I believe. We'll have Kevin O'Donoghue later on with his film segment, but for now, it's me, Seany's Plan. This week we have number 6, the daddy of survival horror games, Resident Evil. The series timeline begins with Resident Evil 0. 1998, I believe, Star's Bravo team is sent to investigate a series of grisly murders outside of Raccoon City. On the way to the scene, Bravo's helicopter malfunctions because of sabotage and is forced to crash land in the forest. The team split up, and the team's medic, Rebecca Chambers, finds a train stopped in the middle of the forest. She soon discovers that the train is full of zombies, as you do, and is saved by former US Marine Billy Cohen, who was being transported to be executed. The train starts up mysteriously and begins speeding towards a cliff until Billy and Rebecca apply the brakes and divert its course towards an abandoned research and training centre owned by the Umbrella Corporation. There, they discover that James Marcus, along with Oswald E. Spencer and Edward Ashford, discovered the progenitor virus, which, combined with Ebola cases, Ebola causes rapid mutations. When Ashford died, the others decided to use said virus for bioweapons, leading to the formation of the T-virus, which is the cause of the zombies in this series. Billy and Rebecca eventually find Marcus, who released his virus after being assassinated on the orders of Spencer, until his subsequent rebirth. He does this weird thing with leeches and dies once exposed to sunlight, unlike fucking your man from Twilight. Rebecca, as thanks, declares Billy officially dead so that he can escape, and so Rebecca makes her way towards the nearby Spencer mansion, which, as many of you might remember, is actually where the series truly began, in a way. The original Resident Evil introduces the series' main three characters, Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine, and of course Albert Wesker. Set a day after Resident Evil 0, Star's Alpha team find Bravo team's helicopter in Raccoon Forest. After being attacked by a group of zombified dogs, the remainder of the team run into a nearby mansion. Wesker disappears, Chris finds Rebecca Chambers, and Jill explores the zombie-filled mansion with Barry Burton. The rest of the Bravo team is dead, but before losing Bravo leader Enrico Marina, he reveals that the team has a traitor. Finding an underground lab, that traitor is soon to be revealed as Wesker, who releases a virus-filled tyrant to kill the remaining members. It backfires, however, and Wesker is impaled on the tyrant's claws. After the tyrant is defeated, the team manage to escape the premises shortly before a self-destruct sequence destroys the mansion. Resident Evil 2 is set 2 months after the first in Raccoon City. A second outbreak has caused all the inhabitants to become zombies, and protagonist Leon S. Kennedy, a rookie police officer on his first day, and Claire Redfield, Chris's sister, having both just arrived in the city, seek refuge in the police station, finding most of the policemen have been killed already and that Chris has left for Europe. Claire meets a young girl named Sherry, who is the scientist William Birkin's daughter. Leon, on the other hand, encounters Ada Wong, a spy sent to retrieve the G-virus. The hulking monster that's been following Sherry is revealed to be her father, who, while trying to protect his new G-virus, injects himself. Ada disappears with a sample, and after activating yet another self-destruct yoke, plus killing the monstrous Birkin, Claire, Leon and Sherry escape into a fiery sunset. A final sample of the G-virus is also stolen by an Umbrella military operative known as Hunk in an unlockable mission. Resident Evil 3 Nemesis coincides with the second, instead following Jill Valentine on her escape, along with help from an Umbrella Task Force member, Carlos Oliveira. Pursuing her throughout the game is the near-perfected Nemesis tyrant model, whose goal is to kill all surviving STARS members. During the game, Jill finds out that the US government is intending to blow up the town with a nuclear bomb, and much of the game's end story features running towards a helicopter, and after several previous encounters, eventually killing Nemesis, before escaping on board a chopper piloted by Barry Burton. Code Veronica X returns to Claire Redfield after she is locked up on Rockford Island by Umbrella officials almost immediately before an outbreak consumes the island. Teaming up with fellow inmate Steve Burnside, a kid straight from the Twilight generation, sad fate, stalked all the time by the island's commander, Alfred Ashford, the pair managed to steal a plane, sadly set to autopilot, and a ticket to Antarctica. Meanwhile, Chris survives at Rockford and encounters none other than Wesker, who turns out to be a bit of a badass now he's back from the dead. Wesker is now uber pumped full of viruses and drugs and most resembles Amy Winehouse. He in turn flies to Antarctica in an attempt to steal the T. veronica virus currently residing in a recently unfrozen and extremely pissed off Alexia Ashford. With Chris in hot pursuit, Steve dies, smiley face, and Chris faces off against Alexia, killing her and reuniting with Claire. Wesker leaves, vowing to kill Chris the next time they meet, as you do. Resident Evil 4 shows Leon Kennedy, now recruited by US Secret Service to rescue Ashley Graham, the president's daughter from the Los Illuminados cult in Europe. While there, he finds that the villagers are under the control of a mind-controlling parasite known as Las Plagas. He briefly meets Ada Wong again, who retrieves a sample of the parasite for Wesker. Leon rescues Ashley and kills the bad guys and looks good in the jet ski. Everything in this installment doesn't really have a big impact on the main series apart from the Las Plagas. Most recently was Resident Evil 5, where Chris is now part of an anti-bioterrorism group, the BSAA. Following lead on a weapons deal, Chris, alongside with Sheva Alomar, is dispatched to Kijuju, Africa, to apprehend the suspects. Along the way, Chris finds evidence that Jill Valentine, who he once thought to be dead after running with the new and improved Wesker, may in fact be alive. The pair find an old Umbrella Resource Centre and a flower-laden cave, which is the source of the progenitor virus, which led to the creation of the T, G and T. veronica viruses. They then find evidence that Tricell, a company funding the BSAA, has in fact continued Umbrella's research. Wesker resurfaces and reveals his plan to release a mixture of all the samples he had collected, known as Ouroboros, into the atmosphere, mutating the world's population so that he may lead them. Freeing Jill from a Las Plagas manufactured device, the trio, along with the remaining BSAA agents, foil Wesker's plan by shooting an RPG round down his windpipe. Now, although the zombie plot is tried and tested, not even George A. Romero could put such a spin on it as Capcom did. It wasn't until I saw those god-awful film adaptations that I began to appreciate the Resident Evil franchise for what it actually was. The intricate storyline is only made better by possibly the best villain I've ever seen, Albert Wesker. Add a character like that into any storyline and you've got a bestseller. Not to mention that the game helps you prepare for the eventual zombie apocalypse. All you need to know is to install self-destruct systems in practically everything, and when shit hits the fan, fucking leg it. That's all for me now this week. Next week we'll be doing number 5, but as for now, I'll switch over to Kevin. Good night.
Isn't this one big family reunion?
Hey everyone in YouTube world, welcome to another episode of DC Top 10. I'm Kevin O'Donoghue, and this week is number 6. And the film that takes my 6th spot is the 1987 film Predator. Predator is an action-packed science fiction film directed by John McTiernan, same man who directed Die Hard and Last Action Hero, just to mention a few. It was distributed by 20th Century Fox. Predator begins when an alien spacecraft enters Earth's atmosphere and jettisons a pod, which descends into Central America. Sometime later, a Major Alan Dutch Schaefer, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, arrives in Guatemala with his elite team for an operation to rescue a presidential cabinet minister and his aide who were abducted by guerrilla forces in Valverde. Dutch's old military buddy, now working for the CIA, George Dillon, played by Carl Weathers. For anyone who doesn't know who he is, he's the guy who gets his ass kicked by a Russian in Rocky IV. And he steps in as liaison and joins the team. The team consists of Mac Elliott, Blaine Cooper, Billy Soul, George Pancho Ramirez, and Rick Hawkins. Played by Bill Duke, Jesse Ventura, Sonny Lanham, Richard Chavis, and Shane Black. The team is inserted into the jungle by helicopter and begins its hunt. They soon find a wreckage of a downed helicopter, and later the remains of several skinned bodies identified to be an Army Special Forces unit whose presence in the country mystifies Dutch. They track the guerrillas to a heavily defended rebel encampment, which they destroy, except for a woman named Anna, whom they take prisoner. Dutch is enraged when Dillon confesses that the rescue mission had been a ploy to get his group to attack the camp, and that the men they found earlier disappeared in a failed attempt to rescue 2 CIA agents. As the team makes their way to the extraction point, They are observed from afar by an unknown creature using thermal imaging. Anna briefly escapes, but when Hawkins catches her, he is seized and dragged off. The creature ignores the unarmed Anna. Moments later, while the team is looking for Hawkins' killer, Blaine is killed by a blast through the chest. Anna offers the team insight on the creature, which is something of a local legend. The team set a trap, but the creature avoids capture and escapes, severely wounding Poncho in the process, when he gets a big tree smacking into him. Mac and Dylan are then killed soon after when they chase after the creature. Billy is then slain while he makes a last stand against the creature. The Predator catches up to Dutch and engages in a short shootout during which Poncho is killed. Realising the creature only attacks those possessing weapons, a wounded Dutch sends Anna unarmed to the extraction point. He narrowly escapes the creature by inadvertently masking his body's heat signature with mud, and then he witnesses the Predator's true form when its active camouflage fails. Dutch prepares for a final showdown with the Predator by setting various traps and using what Dylan called earlier in the film his Boy Scout skills. When everything is set, Dutch climbs up to the treetops and lets out a loud battle cry that gets the Predator's attention. Hearing Dutch's war cry, the Predator arrives to investigate and eventually traps him. Discarding its electronic weaponry, the 7-foot alien Hulk challenges Dutch to hand-to-hand combat. Battered and barely able to move, Dutch manages to drop the counterweight from one of his traps, which falls and crushes the creature. Ouch. As Dutch asks the mortally wounded alien, what is it? The creature mimics his question in garbled English and then activates a self-destruct mechanism on its wrist, while laughing. Gradually the laugh increases to mimic to that of a human-like pitch. Dutch barely escapes a massive explosion and is later rescued by a helicopter along with Anna. And to why Predator makes it into my top 10. Well, to start, it's the Predator. This film had some of the best scenes, or best action scenes seen in any film, never mind a sci-fi film. From the scenes where they're blowing the shit out of the village, to where they're shooting the crap out of the jungle, and to the final fight scene between Dutch and the Predator. Like, again, just to mention a few, there's so many there. These kinds of scenes draw in and keep the audience's attention right through the entirety of the film. Apart from these scenes, the film also has quite a few somber moments, where the audience, like the characters in the film, are given the chance to take part in what is happening, take in what is happening, and assess the situation. One such scene that sticks out is the one where Blaine is, just after Blaine is killed, Mac is sitting with Blaine's body and toasting the memories they shared over the years. With these different scenes put together, it makes the Predator a well-rounded film. The success of Predator led to 2 sequels, Predator 2 and the latest in the series, Predators. It also led the way to the highly anticipated but sadly disappointing crossover series Alien vs Predator. But my number one reason for the Predator making it into my top 10 is the Predator itself. The work that went into bringing this character to life has to be greatly admired. The Predator, who starts out as just a monster to the other characters, is soon shown that he has his own sense of honour and traditions, which makes him not only a believable character but a very terrifying one. Well, that's all from me this week. I'll talk to you later.
You one ugly motherfucker.